This is Maureen Ceidro, Bereavement Counselor for Excela Health, Home Care, and Hospice. Please sit with me for a little while as we talk about grief during the pandemic. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the story Alice in Wonderland and her journeys through the looking glass. When Lewis Carroll sent Alice through the looking glass, she found herself in a world that was at once both familiar and unfamiliar. All the elements were the same: the bookshelves, the fireplace, the roaring fire, and yet nothing was at all the same. Everything was, as one might say, topsy-turvy. For the past several months, we have all experienced a grief that signifies the upheaval and the loss of the life we knew. We grieve the loss of stability, of certainty, real or perceived, but never doubted. We have experienced a deep, arbitrary, and unexpected violation of our assumptive world. Like Alice, we expect the situations we encounter to make sense, and within that ordered sense, we know intuitively what to do. What Alice soon discovers is that the only certainty in Wonderland is its ability to frustrate and challenge her understanding of the natural order of the world. Have you been feeling challenged? Frustrated? A mirrored image of our lives exists somewhere in our memory, where we hold those we love close. We sit with them, laugh with them, hold their hands, wipe their tears, soothe them, unencumbered by masks and distances and fears. But it now seems so long ago. Isolated from our natural support systems, we grow weary of the day-to-day nuances and the intuitive responses we do have to balance our feelings of loss. For example, gather with friends, go to a restaurant, a movie, the beach, are exactly what we need not do. We call our weariness quarantine fatigue, a slightly melodic term that belies the depth of our loss of community. As Alice said, "I am so very tired of being alone here." At the end of life, the separation from loved ones who are ill tears the heart in a new and seemingly cruel way. Feelings of helplessness and guilt abound. In our imagined world, we are always present with those we love as they take their last breath. And yet, for many, the circumstances of the pandemic have precluded that, and we, again, are left on the other side of the looking glass, visible, yet unable to touch, to soothe, to comfort, a distorted image of how we love. As we move through this incredibly difficult time, we are beginning to see the long-term emotional implications of social distancing. Feelings of isolation are compounded for those who grieve the loss of a loved one. Emotional isolation is often experienced by people as they move through their grief. And now we have added a layer of physical distancing, which only amplifies feelings of being alone, feeling somewhat abandoned. We find ourselves in a world with no viewings, no funerals, and no rituals that allow the community to come together in support of sorrow. Loss heaped upon loss. The burden becomes heavier as the hands that would support us are withheld, and the felt sense of incompleteness is large and dark. This is the time to continue to reach out to friends and family by phone, by computer. This is the time to care for yourself in small ways by doing things that bring you joy or pleasure. This is the time to make sure you have plenty of sleep and that you eat well. This is the time to consider doing something new or different, taking walks, spending time outdoors, reading books. Towards the end of Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll wrote this. At this, the whole pack of cards rose up into the air and came flying down upon Alice. She gave a little scream, half of fright and half of anger, and tried to beat them off, and then found herself lying on the bank, with her head in the lap of her sister, who was gently brushing away some of the dead leaves that had fluttered down from the trees upon her face. Although we will not have the good fortune to awaken, as Alice did, from a curious dream with our heads cushioned and a gentle breeze across our face, let us remember to remain centered and calm as much as we are able as this deck of cards whirl around us. It is essential that we continue to care for ourselves so that we too may continue to care for others. Distance and perspective clarify our ability to reflect and understand the impact of events in our lives. We are going through an extraordinary time in our lives right now, and we may be much too close to the surface to reflect upon what these months have meant to us. But I think there is much value in holding the question, "What are you learning?" gently in our hands as we move forward. I'd like to share with you now a reading from Mud and Dreams by John Sean Doyle. To flourish is not about unrelenting bliss or freedom from pain and injustice. One can live a life of meaning, significance, and value even when feeling empty. Your life can be something good and powerful and world-altering despite suffocating under despair. We are always affecting others. We never know the extent of that impact. Whether you recognize it or not, your life matters. Even if you have made some big mistakes, suffered some terrible trauma, or have regrets that cut to the very heart of your being, you can still offer the hope and promise and decency every one of us needs. In fact, you may be in a better position to do so, precisely because you know what it means to have struggled or been in pain. Please be good for the world. You are too important not to. And every day, as you don your mask, say, to no one in particular, but to everyone you meet, "This is how I love you." So thank you for listening. Please remember, this is a journey. You can do this, and we are always, always here to help you. Thank you, and take care.